Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Bhaja Govindam verses 20 to 24.
Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakrudabhiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Nacharcha Punarapi Jananam Punarapi Maranam Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam Iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi murare Rathya charpata virachita kandaha punya punya vivachita pantaha Yogi yoga niyojita chitto ramate balon mattavadeva Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam Tvai mai chanyatraiko vishnuhu vyartham kupyasi maya sahishnuhu Bhava samachitta sarvatra tvam vanchasya chiradyadi vishnutvam.
Adi Shankaracharya and his disciples in this small text called Bhaja Govindam or Moha Mudgara is asking us to understand that the life's purpose is to realize the self, is to find out the permanent factor, identify with it, and realize our true nature to be that permanent reality, not these impermanent aspects of life which we are constantly trying to acquire and enjoy. Our whole life is just going away in acquisition and enjoyment. Acquisition of all these trivial, frivolous, passing, fleeting material objects and beings. So he says these are not going to really give you that bliss that you are seeking. That bliss is your original self and you need to utilize the time to get there, to realize the true nature. You can use all these aspects in the world for transactional purpose, but do not get involved. And in sloka number 18, he says, to realize the self, you need to follow a simple living supplemented with knowledge. You maintain a living with a higher purpose, higher goal, and whatever you require to just work towards that goal, especially the goal of self-realization, you maintain that, lead a simple life. Everything should be directed towards that goal. What I can eat, when I should wake up, when I should sleep, with whom I should move around. Everything in connection with your goal. Lead a simple life, sattvic lifestyle, and supplement it with higher knowledge. Then you will develop what is called as renunciation. You understand the frivolous nature of this world and you will place the right value for the world, which is no value. Meaning beyond transactional purpose, you do not give any value to this world. The car, for example, is helpful for you to move from one place to another. It can bring you to this class, it can take you to your work. Like that, it will help you in the world from the transactional point of view. But from the point of view of true happiness, it cannot bring that. There are people with car not happy. There are people without car also not happy. So it's got nothing to do with car. It is to do with your state of mind. It is to do with your original self. So therefore he says, dwelling under the tree in temple, sleeping on the ground, wearing skin, renouncing all possession and enjoyment, to him will not dispassion bring happiness. So he's emphasizing on this important aspect called dispassion. In other words, you should first understand about this world as useless, as no pith or substance. You should understand that it has no intrinsic value except for transactional purpose, as we discussed. So then why give too much exaggerated value to it? Then you will only have value for the Atma, the self, the reality. So you will have a very, very relative value to this world. That's called dispassion. It's not that dispassion means you won't contact it. You will contact it for how much ever it is needed for transactional purpose. Beyond that, it will not occupy your mind. That's called dispassion. And then your mind is focused on the higher. With that, you will realize the self and be happy. And a person who's realized the self, it really doesn't matter whether he is in yoga or bhoga, meaning in the world or in solitude, whether in company or separate. Because the thought is always on Brahman. He will be or she will be always happy, verily happy. Yogaratova, bhogaratova, sangaratova, sangavihinaha, yasya brahmani ramate chittam, nandati, nandat eva. He says, if you follow what he said in 9, which is satsangatve nissangatvam, nissangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nishchalatatvam, nishchalatatve jivan mukti. Maintain satsang at all levels. Mainly having close proximity with your guru, scriptures, having always people who are like-minded, interested in realizing the self and pursuing the sadhana, being in such company and maintaining food habits and all disciplines, gaining the knowledge and living life consistently like that, you will attain what is called as, non-attachment. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. There is undue values that you have placed, which is what is called as delusion. That delusion will go. You think today that this world can give you happiness. World means anything in the world. Objects, beings. You think per se they can give you the bliss that you are seeking. That is the delusion. So that moha will go. Nirmohatve nishchalatatva. You will get more and more interested and established in the knowledge of the self. Nishchalatatvam. Nishchalatatve jivan mukti. When you consistently pursue that, you will attain realization while being in this body. And once you have realized, then like he says in 19, yogaratova, bhogaratova. Whatever lifestyle you lead doesn't matter. You don't have to necessarily take sannyas lifestyle. You can also be in grihastha ashrama. Like King Janaka and all, they didn't renounce and go. After realization, they continued being the king. You understand? So you can continue being the king. Yogaratova, bhogaratova. Whether spiritual or material lifestyle, doesn't matter. Sangaratova, sangavihinaha. Whether you are in company or in solitude, it really doesn't matter. Why? Because in your mind, you're always thinking of Brahman. Today, when we are in a particular group which is interested in the Atman, Brahman, etc., we also tend to discuss that because we also have little interest. But the moment we leave that group, like the satsang, we get into some other group, then our mind goes into material things. Now this person has done enough, analysis and then enough study, reflection on the higher. As a result, that person is established in the truth. And that person's mind doesn't matter whatever he or she does, will be rooted in the Atma. So at the physical level, mental level, intellectual level, at all three levels, he is constantly identified with the reality, Brahman. That's why he says, Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam Nandati Nandati Nandat Eva. 3 times he says. 3 times because 3 levels we have, body level, mind level, intellect level. At all 3 levels, he is only identified with Brahman. See, we may be in the temple But our identification may be with the body. Oh God, please, I have somehow managed to live up to 90. Out thus all, please somehow make me live. Or something like that. I have enjoyed this. Please God, make sure that I enjoy a little more. All the time we are only interested in the material things or the physical body. Similarly, at the mind level, intellectual level, more and more, relationships and more knowledge, etc. But this person, even though the person may be moving amongst the objects and beings of this world, is constantly rooted in Brahman. Nothing else. And such a person will be happy, verily happy, wherever. See, from a relative point of view also, when you give in to your ego and start focusing on your likes and dislikes, you cannot be happy. But if you can focus on your goal, your purpose, your obligation, you will be happy. Your Swadharma, how you can give your Swadharma, be in your Swadharma and give back to the universe through your Swadharma. With a clear purpose when you function, you will be happy. It doesn't matter whether you are in a palace or on the streets, whether you own a house or don't own a house, whether you own any vehicles or not, it really doesn't matter. You will be happy. See, your happiness has got nothing to do with what you have. Your happiness has got everything to do with what you are, where your thoughts are, what your thoughts are and where your thoughts are. You understand? But unfortunately, we are all in delusion. What kind of delusion? We are thinking our happiness is to do with what we have, how much we have. And therefore, we are going on running and running only to acquire that. Vedanta is not against acquiring, please. You understand? If the purpose requires for the work that you do, if certain things is required, you work for it. In due course, you will get it. Nothing wrong in it. But to be preoccupied with it, thinking that is the end all and be all of life, is the stupidity. That is the madness. And that is why we are not happy. Because whole life, our whole focus is in just, catering to our likes and dislikes. We think what we have will bring us that happiness. If what we have can bring us happiness, then you should go and ask the person who has the maximum. You understand? They seem to have everything. Then why are they not happy? See, the Shastras very clearly explain. You go to heaven. Even that happiness is temporary, they say. That's why Vedanta says, don't even aspire to go to heaven. Because you do a lot of punya and you go to heaven. That is also temporary state only. You cannot live there permanently. After all the punyas are exhausted, you will be sent back, they say. So, nothing that you have can bring you happiness. But what will bring you happiness is what you are. What your thoughts are. Where your thoughts are. Is it on Brahman or on ego? Me, all the time, myself, then you cannot be happy. If the thoughts are not on me, you will be perennially happy. If it's on Brahman, that's why he says, Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. The thought should be in Brahman, then it will revel. Ramate means it will be in ecstasy, it will be reveling. That person, whosoever is constantly identified with the permanent aspects of life, not in terms of what I will get, my ego, my pleasures. And that's why we say, when you are unselfish, selfless, you will always be happy. It is impossible that when you are unselfish or selfless, you will be morose. And it is impossible when you are morose, you find yourself to be unselfish. If you are morose, means you will always be selfish, egocentric. Somewhere down the line, you are thinking from your angle. That's all it is. So therefore, it really doesn't matter. What matters is establish your thoughts in Brahman. Park yourself in Brahman, then move around. Big deal. You understand? What we are doing is, our mind is constantly parked in the world. Little bit we'll go to the Vedanta text and come out. Every Wednesday morning, 11:30 to 12:45. We will just go to Vedanta text, come back. But we are parked, where are we parked? We are parked in the world. What he is saying is the other way around. You park yourself in Brahman, then you go around wherever you want. Like a child holding on to a pillar, In the villages I've seen, there will be a lot of houses having these wooden pillars, especially in South India. So the children, they will hold on to the wooden pillar and they swing themselves around. Very fast they'll swing. So like that, hold on to Brahman and swing yourself in this world. You understand? Then you will be in ecstasy. Whoever comes in contact with you also will be in ecstasy. That's all he said. Shloka number 20.
Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakrudapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Na Charcha.
He who has studied the Bhagavad Gita even a little. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Gita. Kinchita Dita means he who has studied the Bhagavad Gita even a little bit. And then Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. One who has drunk a little drop of Ganges water. Sakridapi ena Murari Samarcha. Worshipped Murari at least once. And then he says, Kriyate tasya amenana charcha. That person has no contention with Yama, Lord of Death. He is now showing us the way to reach that supreme reality. Way to unite oneself with that supreme reality. Way to merge with one's own true nature. So when he says Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita means at least study little bit of Gita. Little bit of Gita means what? Not just chapter 1 or just chapter 3. Little bit. Or chapter 2 verse 47 I've studied. Little bit I've studied. What he's trying to say is it is not the length of study that matters. It is the depth of study. Just even little bit. Meaning, in Tamil there is a beautiful text called Tirukkural. Thiruvalluvar's Tirukkural. It says, Karka, Kasadu Ara, Karpavai, Katrapin, Nirka, Adarku Taga. Means Karka, means learn. Karpavai, what all has to be learnt? Karka, Karpavai, Kasadu Ara. Means there should be no doubt. You should have clearly understood that. Karka, Karpavai, Kasadera, Katravai, Katrapin, Nirka, Adarkataga. Once you have studied, once you have learned all that, then you should just live it. Then only you are a learned person. When are you learned? Whatever you have studied, when you live by it, you are a learned person. Otherwise, you are just a literate, not learned. Isn't it? See, in Mahabharata, there is an episode where the teacher taught to all the Kauravas and Pandavas, always speak the truth and never get angry. And told them, I believe, write imposition of this 25 times and come tomorrow. And nobody did. Yudhishthira also forgot. Okay. And teacher was very angry. He was beating all these people, all these Kauravas and Pandavas. And when he was beating Yudhishthira, he was keeping quiet. He said, why did you not do it? He told the truth. He forgot. Whatever it was, he told the truth. I don't remember now what he said. But he told the truth. He didn't lie. He didn't say that I got fever, nothing like that. He told the truth. Right? And then when the teacher was beating him, he never got angry. Then the teacher realized, what I taught this fellow is living. There was no need for this fellow to write the imposition. Karka, Kasadara, Karpavai, Katrapin, Nirka, Adarka Taga. So, Bhagavad Gita, Kinchita Dita means that only. Read the Bhagavad Gita. Why Bhagavad Gita? Because Bhagavad Gita is what? Essence of Vedanta only, which is Upanishads. You understand? But it elaborately deals with the subject which can help a person who is in the beginning as well as the person who is in an evolved state as well. Whereas Upanishads, when you go, it is more for a person who is at a very deep level. You understand? In the Bhagavad Gita, the student is Arjuna. And he goes on asking questions from worldly point of view. So therefore, Sri Krishna dilutes the knowledge and explains from that level as well. So it's a universal text that will help for a lot of people. Everyone for that matter. Whoever wants to understand the truth. You know. So therefore he says, Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita. At least study a little bit. Meaning, whatever you studied, you reflect upon them, ask questions, reflect upon them, understand, and then live by it. So this is referring to the intellectual practice of jnanam, jnana yoga. When he says Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita means jnana yoga. Then Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. At least drink little bit of Ganges water. Now Ganges is, said to be a river. Mythologically, it is said that it is come from heaven, flowing down. Akasha Ganga, we say. You understand? Ganga represents knowledge. So when you dip in knowledge, you're supposed to be purified. So there is this devotion, belief, faith, that when you take a dip in Ganga, you understand, you wash away your sin. You understand? So he is appealing to that devotional feeling. That devotional feeling in the sense, whatever little devotional practices you put in, do it sincerely. Again depth there, not superficial devotion. You understand? So therefore he says, little drop of Ganges water. See, Ganges also represents the culture. So when a person was brought up in this kind of a culture, they say, there is a saying, I forgot. They say, if you have drunk this water, you cannot live any other way, they say. Because it has a certain culture of people who have lived on the banks of certain rivers, So, therefore, it's the devotion he is appealing to, So, whatever little devotion you show to the higher bhakti practices, follow bhakti practices sincerely. That's what it means. So, it is symbolizing bhakti yoga, right? And then he is saying, worship Murari at least once. At least once you worship Murari. Murari means what? Lord Krishna, who killed the demon Mura, which represents ego. Lord Krishna killing all these demons or any God killing demons means what? Killing the ego in us. Ego is the biggest demon. You understand? There is nothing else that is a bigger demon than ego. So, that is Karma Yoga, no? You direct your ego towards a higher purpose, higher goal, and physically act. And that is what is representing worshipped Murari. Worship means service. So in Christian religion, they call going to church as Sunday service. So worshipping is service. See, you identify with the divinity and you understand that the divinity is that which pervades in every being. So serving all the beings is serving God. Isn't it? Naraseva, Narayana Seva. When you say that, what does it mean? So worship means, prayer means, service means doing action as a service to humanity and all species, dissolving your ego, identifying with a larger purpose. That is nothing but Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, there are two aspects. One is Arpana Bhav and the other is Prasada Bhav. Acting with a dedication to the higher And then whatever comes out of it, accepting it as prasad, as gift of the God. You understand? So therefore, worshipped Murari at least once. Means, whatever you do, if you are a homemaker and you are just, seem to be at home and doing things for the family, that's fine, nothing wrong. In fact, it's a great service. But do it dissolving the ego, not constantly grumbling. It doesn't mean that, only somebody who goes and serves the world is doing greater service. Greater service is not decided by, whether you are serving the world or home. It is decided by how much the ego is lost. That is what we need to understand. There is a story in Purana where Narad Muni brings a mango. Supposedly, whoever eats that mango will get knowledge. And he says, this should be eaten only by one fellow, it should not be shared. You understand? Now, it is given to Lord Shiva and Parvati and said, give it to one of your children. Right. Now, he starts the drama. He gives one fruit and says, give it to one of your children. And then Lord Shiva and Parvati don't know whom to give. So they say, okay, they call both Lord Ganesha and Lord Subramanya. Say, whoever goes around the world thrice first and comes, they'll get it. So Lord Subramanya, who has his vehicle, peacock has his vehicle, sits on the peacock and starts going around the world. Right? While he is doing that, Lord Ganesha, who's got his vehicle has only rat, mouse, he's asking, isn't going around parents 3 times the same as going around the world 3 times? They say yes. So he goes around them 3 times and he gets the fruit first. So what is all this story telling us? Many ways in which we can interpret all these stories, So, if you firstly, before you go to serve the world, first serve your parents. Charity begins at home, they say. Understand? So, you sincerely serve your parents. Then you serve as many people as you can. But what is important is sincerely serve, dropping the ego. So, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. All this you follow to the best of your ability as consistently as possible. That's what he says. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakradapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Na Charcha. He has no contention with Yama, Lord of Death. Yama means who? Controller. Who is he? The Lord of Death. Who makes sure that this earth is not burdened too much. People only are born and nobody is dying. Then the earth will become so much of burden will be there on the earth. No? So he makes sure that there is balance. So he's called Lord of Death. Yama. Basically, birth means change. Philosophically, when you say death, means there can be no death without birth. There can be no birth without death. So when you say death means, birth means change. Please understand this. So when he is saying that fellow who's doing this sadhana, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga sincerely, consistently, that person has no contention with change. What is happening to us? We are all constantly affected by the change. Isn't it? Now, slowly we've been cribbing about summer so much. Now I know what is going on in your head. This fellow nicely escaped Delhi, sitting in some other place where it is not so hot. He's sitting and giving us lecture. See, jokes apart, summer we constantly crib about summer. Then now rainy season will start, we'll crib about rain. Then we will crib about winter. In other words, we are all constantly affected by the change. Another name for the world is change. Please understand this. Another name for world is what? Change. Everything is in a constant flux of change in this universe. Nothing is static. Isn't it? Nothing is static. Constantly changing. And when the changes happen, and if it is favorable, we jump with joy. And if the changes happen, and if it is not so favorable, we sulk. Isn't it? Constantly getting excited, sulking, excited, sulking. Going this ups and downs, getting affected by all this is called samsara. This is what is happening to all of us. So he says that fellow doesn't have any contention with change. Means what? These changes do not affect that person. Changes can affect only a person who identifies with the body, mind, intellect. Changes cannot affect a person who is identified with the Atma. That fellow, therefore, who is identified with Atma, through the Shastras, he exhausts the bulk of the desires, and then through meditation, he exhausts the last few traces of desires also, and becomes one with Brahman, has no contention with change. So all you need to therefore do is what? Follow Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, according to your proportion. The Vedanta treatise, he beautifully explains this. See, there is another lecture, very interesting lecture by Swami Ramtita. It's called Path to Truth. And he says, there is no path to truth. The lecture topic itself is called Path to Truth. But he says there is no path to truth. Why? When there is only truth, and which is all pervading, there is no place where the truth is not. Then how can there be path, he asks. Path can be from a place where an object is to a place where it has to be taken to. Isn't it? We have to take a material from your house to Sarika ji's house. There is a path. There are different routes. Right? Now, if that material is all pervading, how can there be path? So for something that is all pervading, there is no path. So he says path to truth is the topic, and he says there is no path to truth. And then he says, since truth is all pervading, there is no path to truth, but you do not know that you are the truth which is all pervading. So you are in ignorance. So all you need to do is get rid of that ignorance. How do you get rid of the ignorance? Through knowledge. And for the knowledge to go in, you need to have a conducive mind, which is brought about by karma and bhakti. So karma yoga and bhakti yoga will bring you chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata, that conducive mind. And with that, when you do jnana yoga, you cleanse your vasanas. Then you will get more and more deeply established in the reality. You will come to a stage where you single-pointedly can focus upon that reality. You do meditation. And through meditation, you realize the self. So, in Vedanta treatise book, Swamiji says, you analyze your personality. How much of a physical personality are you? How much of an emotional personality are you? How much of an intellectual personality are you? Accordingly, you do karma, bhakti, jnana. All these yogas. Then slowly, you will be exhausting the vasanas, and your mind will develop more and more dispassion. You will reach a mental state of renunciation. Then you will slide into dharana and dhyana, concentration and meditation. And through meditation, you exhaust the last few traces of desires also, and then unite with the self. So the more and more you unite with the self, the less and less you get affected by the happenings in the world. That's all it is. Everything is in a constant flux of change. Things will be favorable to you, not favorable to you. Doesn't matter. Let it happen. But you will not be affected. That's what he says. So that's why, when you understand all these things, life becomes very simple. All we need to do is karma, bhakti, jnana yoga. Oh, I woke up this morning. Okay. one more day I'm living, thanks to God. I've got another opportunity to reduce my vasanas. That is the whole thing, na? Right? So I've got one more opportunity to reduce my vasanas further. So what do? Do karma, bhakti, jnana. The best time to do jnana yoga is early hours of the day. 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Brahma Muhurta time. Then you get on to your physical walking, whatever it is, yoga, and then shower, do a little bit of bhakti practice, prayer, etc. Have your breakfast, go to work, do it in the spirit of karma yoga, come back in the evening, again shower, do a little bit of bhakti practices, then maybe after your dinner, you sit and do a little bit of studying of Puranas, etc. or listening to some bhajans. And in between also, you can have fun with your children, your family, your friends. But primarily, your life should be a sattvic lifestyle. Because deep inside you should be clear, convinced. I have come here in this world to lose, not to add. I have not come here to add. I have come here to reduce. We are going on adding. We should be reducing. The vasanas has to be reduced, not added. So, have fun, do everything, but deep inside be clear. So what will reduce the vasanas? Only these practices will reduce. Karma, bhakti, jnana. Karma, bhakti, jnana. Nothing else. That's all he's saying. Bhagavad Gita, Kinchita Gita. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Gita. Sakrudapi ena murari samarcha kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. That person lives life totally not fighting with yama, not worried about death, not worried about future, living in the present, enjoying life, not getting affected by the change. Next shloka, again, shloka number 21 is very popular shloka, very often quoted shloka.
Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare.
Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Jananam, birth, maranam, death. Punarapi means again, repeated. Repeated birth, repeated death. Again birth, again death. He's talking about the cycle of birth and death that we are going through because we are not getting rid of our vasanas. As long as we have not exhausted the vasanas, we will be constantly born and constantly dying. So therefore he says repeated birth, repeated death, repeated lying in mother's womb. Repeated lying in mother's womb. How many mothers we have had? So many janmas we have taken. So many mothers we have had. So many environments in which we have lived. Yet we have not lived according to the way we should live and exhaust the vasanas. Therefore what is happening? We are constantly being born, constantly dying. See, what we need to understand is, in my Sunday class, we are doing chapter 2, the portion from 11 to 30. It talks about this very nicely. He compares our body to vesture, cloth, garment. Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya, he says. Navani grinati naroparani. Basically what he is saying in the shloka number 22 of chapter 2, this body is only a vesture, cloth. And you are the wearer. You are the wearer meaning the mind, intellect, the subtle body. Along with the causal body is the wearer. Okay. You are wearing this cloth. For example, Abhi, your mind and intellect, your vasanas, or for studying Bhaja Govindam. Therefore, you are born in the environment wearing this Vedanta classroom dress. Okay. Then slowly, Arey Baba, bahut ho gaya aaj ka. By the time it's 1 hour 15 minutes, Sumeji, bahut ho gaya. So then your next vasanas come, whatever that is. Then this environment is not conducive anymore. So what do? You throw this garment and wear a new environment as a garment. Isn't it? There will be a new personality there. Isn't it? Here the personality, how are you? There the personality, hey, what are you talking? Maybe something like that when you're with your friends. So, in other words, the subtle body, when along with the causal body, when it finds the gross body not conducive for it to exhaust the vasanas, desires, it gives up the old body and takes up the new one and moves on. Are you with me? So therefore we say in Vedanta, be careful about your thoughts. Your thoughts are the ones which is giving you the environment, which is giving you the body also. You understand? Now see, it's very easy to understand when there is only one thought. If there is only one thought, only that environment, that body you will get. But the problem is you have 25 trillion thoughts. So therefore, it will be kichdi. It will be sum total of all that. There are powerful thoughts, there are weak thoughts, all that put together, what we call as resultant. The resultant thoughts determine your death and birth. That's why each and every thought matters. What you are thinking, you be clear, that is more important. What others think about you doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. You understand? So therefore, he says, because we have not taken care of all this, and we have not gotten rid of our vasanas, we will be constantly being born, constantly dying. Repeated birth, repeated death. Where? In mother's womb. Until and unless we are established in the Brahman and realized, we will be attending these kind of classes. So again and again you will come to class, go back. Come to class, go back. Sometimes we say this venue is not available, the other venue. So from this venue you go to that venue. And both the venues this time we can't do because the teacher has gone somewhere else. So you will do Zoom. So Zoom venue. Mother's womb keeps on changing, na? So many mothers we have had, so many janmas we have had. We don't understand all this. We get involved in this particular janma, in this particular mother, in this particular world, all our relationships. We get completely involved. Mere bacha, mere beta, mera this thing, mera that thing. While you have obligation, please do that. You understand? Of course, we all have an obligation towards our parents, teachers, society, our country. We have obligations to other species also. We do that, but not get involved. When you really understand that how many janmas I've had, man, that means how many mothers and fathers I've had. So many janmas, so many brothers, sisters, friends, relatives, so many failures, so many success. All add so many. So many Vedanta class also I've had. One class member is there. He doesn't do it purposely, but he's developed the habit. From class 1 he writes class 1, class 2 like that. Now he said some 4,000 classes or something he's attending. He's been attending for so many years. Some 20-30 years. So, in other words, again and again and again we are going through the same thing. Isn't it? Day in and day out. Same thing we do. Constantly we are chasing the world. We acquire, we enjoy. We acquire, we enjoy. Did we ever think, kya kar rahe yaar hum? Same thing. Same routine, mechanical existence. Huh? Do we need to really sit back and ask her not some questions? Again and again I am doing this. Why am I getting involved? So he is asking, repeated birth, repeated death. Repeated lying in mother's womb. This samsara, terrestrial entanglement, is never ending. Unending. For whom? See, when he says this terrestrial entanglement is unending, for whom? For whom? For the one who's not taken what? For the one who's not taken, please complete it. Refuge in knowledge, refuge in divinity. How do you get over a habit? You form a habit by constant, unintelligent, unconscious repetition. You have to now become aware that you are caught in a particular habit. And then now you have to intelligently, consciously create a new habit using your buddhi. And when you get established to that higher habit, this lower will fall. You understand? Same thing with vasanas. Vasanas also same thing. So he says, it is unending if not. Because if you continue living mechanically, you will only be living like this. You are not living like a human being, man. He's saying, I'm not saying, he's saying. Live like a human being. What to do? First understand. This samsara is difficult to cross over. Don't say, बहुत आसान है, easy है, हो जाएगा. Sir, I can cross this samsara very easily. Don't underestimate the power of Maya. Power of Maya, do not underestimate. See, we as individuals all are swayed by Maya. So please understand, you have to be thorough in Vedantic concepts. We have done Tattva Bodha. There we studied the Vedantic concepts, but I don't know whether you remember. There we talked about Ishvara and Jiva. We are all Jivas. Right? Who is Ishvara? Brahman plus Maya. Maya Sahita Brahman is called Ishvara. Remember? And what are we? We are also combination of Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is Brahman or consciousness. Prakriti is Maya. We are also combination of Prakriti Purusha. Ishvara is also combination of Prakriti Purusha. But there is one significant difference. What is that? Ishvara controls Maya. We are controlled by Maya. समझ रहे आप? Swami Chinmandaji gives a beautiful example to explain this. He says, one evening, a father and his very small son, about 10-year-old son, they were walking on the road. They were going for a walk. And then they saw one small-time thief, pickpocket or somebody was caught by police and he was handcuffed and 2 policemen were taking him to the police station, holding him tightly, So he asked, who's this? What is happening? And both of them are police and they're taking this fellow to the police station because he's a pickpocket, he's a thief. Oh, okay. And as they were walking, within half an hour's distance when they crossed, they saw on the main road the president of that country going in a car, in front and the back of the president's car, behind president's car, there were quite a lot of police cars escorting him. So the son said, Papa, bigger thief is going. Because he saw one thief carried by 2 police, a small-time thief. So if too many policemen are there in the front and behind, it must be bigger thief. So the son said, Papa, bigger thief. Father said, no, don't talk like that. He's not a thief, he's the president of our country. He is escorted by the police. He controls the police. Okay. So president controls the police. In this case of a thief, he is controlled by the police. Similarly, Ishvara controls Maya, whereas we are controlled by Maya. समझ रहा है? So when we are controlled by Maya, we have to be very, very careful. We are only small circle as Jiva. So small circle should identify with big circle. We need the grace of the Lord. Without the grace of the Lord, mushkil hai. Garuda, the eagle, is the vehicle of Lord Vishnu. And snake is around Paramashiva's, Lord Shiva's neck. So snake fears Garuda, eagle. But when the snake is around Paramashiva, Lord Shiva's neck, it will inquire the welfare of Garuda. Hey buddy, how are you? Why? Because it is around Lord Shiva's neck. You understand? But if it is not around Lord Shiva's neck, Garuda will easily finish off. So always we should understand that our efforts are what? Finite. Our efforts are finite. We need the grace of the Guru, grace of the Lord for it to fructify. So we need to have a proper attitude. I will do this, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, I will attain. If you have that ego, first of all, it won't be yoga, it will be only karma. You understand? So that's why you should have the right attitude. You should struggle with the right attitude. Action plus attitude. Right attitude, right action. When they come together, you can scale any altitude in life. You understand? You can go higher heights in life. You should understand this. So therefore he says, difficult to cross over, O Murari, O Lord Krishna, O Bhagavan, who's killed the demon called Mura, the ego, save through your grace. You understand? So with the proper attitude, you should follow what was discussed in verse number 20. With the grace of the Lord. Not that I will finish it off, I will conquer, I will be consistent, I can do this, I can do that. Arey Baba, you do all that, fine. But you understand. Don't become egoistic. Small circle should identify with a big circle and then function. No? So you say, oh Bhagwan, you take care, you help us. You help me. You don't know. See, our effort is only one unit. But our backdrop, the prarabdha, is lot number of units. So for it to conquer that and establish itself takes time. Till then we have to have the right attitude. It always helps, Even in worldly things, if you have the right attitude, it helps. If you have a wrong attitude, even though you may be qualified, you won't get it. Are you with me? So therefore he says, O Murari, save through your grace. Grace of the Lord is universal. It is not preferential. It is not just for one person and not for another person. If you are humble, you will get it. See, in other words, sunlight is not having any preferential treatment to somebody and the other. It wants to enter everybody's house. But if you have shut your windows and doors, how will it enter? Isn't it? If you keep your windows open, you can see sunlight coming in. So whosoever keeps their windows, doors open, sunlight will come in. Similarly, Bhagwan's grace will come whosoever has the right attitude in life. The right attitude makes the effort effortless. Your effort becomes effortless when it is with right attitude. See, when Arjuna is asking in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna is asking, "Oh Bhagwan, show me Vishwarupa Darshana. I would like to see your Vishwarupa. I would like to see that," he says. And then immediately he says, "If you think I am qualified to see." See, you must understand that in life, we get what we deserve, not what we desire. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. Totality knows what you deserve, and you are getting according to that only in life. If you haven't got it, means you don't deserve it. Means what? You need to put in more efforts. Maybe you continue putting in, rather than sitting and complaining. You understand? So therefore, a person who is really worthy is not going to complain. The person who is not worthy, instead of putting in efforts, he'll complain. It's very, very interesting. Recently India won the World Cup in T20 championship in cricket. The coach of the Indian team was Rahul Dravid. And he had already announced that after this, he will not continue to be the coach of Indian team anymore. He's been a coach for a while. He says, "I will not continue." So BCCI has also announced, they're also trying to get somebody in. Now, the interesting thing is, if you know about his life story, when he was playing cricket from his under 12, under 15 age itself, he was considered to be a very good player. And when he was playing under 19, so many people told him, it's just a question of time, within few months or so, you will be sucked into you will be added into the Indian team, mainstream team. But he also thought, because so many people are telling, so he'll be called in to play for India. But he never got an opportunity. Tendulkar had come in when he was 16 and a half or so, and like that. But he never got 19, he didn't get 20, he didn't get, I think finally he got a call when he was around 23 or something. I don't remember now exactly. When he was told that he will get it 3-4 years ago itself. But he didn't lose hope. He just continued playing at the lower level, Ranji Trophy, whatever matches. He continued playing well. He continued practicing and playing, which was in his hands, with the right attitude. Right? And then he was called for the Indian team. The rest is history. He was called as the Wall. He's a great cricketer, great player. He commands respect from opposite teams also. Even the Australian team, they used to, sledge a lot of people. They say, with Rahul Dravid, we have a lot of respect. Even those fellows, they talk about it. And then, he could not win a World Cup. Even though he's played few World Cups, and they were almost, I think in 2003, they lost in finals under Ganguly's captaincy when he was in the team. In South Africa they played. They were in finals, but they were beaten by Australia. So Rahul Dravid never won a World Cup. Okay, fine. He retired. Then he got into coaching. I was told that when he initially was called for coaching, he said, "No, first I'll coach the under 19 and all that." So he coached them. I think under him they won the World Cup under 19 and all. And then he was brought to the mainstream Indian team. Under his coaching, Indian team went to World Cup, 5-day Test Cricket World Cup, championship finals twice. They lost. Then 50 overs tournament, what they call as one-day international, they came to finals and they lost in Ahmedabad to Australia, if you remember, recently, a year ago or so. Then he had already announced his retirement. T20 World Championship, they won the cup, which they were about to lose. Okay, all this I'm saying, why? He was just doing his job. Obviously, as a player, as a coach, He would have had the goal of winning the World Cup for his country. Understand? But what is in his hands? Only that effort. And he was putting it with the right attitude. He's a guy who is very well respected, not only by Indian players, juniors, his colleagues, his seniors, and other team players also. Why? That attitude. His excellent skill is superb, right attitude. And it will bring results. Has to. That's why I'm saying, O Murari, save through your grace. You should understand that our efforts are finite. While it is also important, it needs to be always supplemented with the right attitude, which will attract the grace of the universe, grace of the totality, grace of Ishvara. Then, whatever we need to put in will be effortless. And it will not be result oriented. And it will naturally bring in results. It is impossible that it will not fetch results. So this is the way to function. When you function like this, you will exhaust vasanas, then you will not have repeated birth, repeated death. Or even if you have, it will be a birth according to your desires, which will be moving towards the divinity, upwards. Like in the 6th chapter of the Gita, he says, Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. For whatever reasons, if a person having put in efforts in the spiritual direction passes away, gives up this body, right? The next body that person will take up, very nicely Sri Krishna says, it will either be in the family where it is extremely conducive for the study of Vedanta. Either they will all be sages and saints, or he will be born in a very rich family who has value on this subject, this, pursuits. In other words, all he wants to say is, you will take a birth which is again conducive for exhaustion of vasanas. And there again, that fellow with his past efforts guiding him, giving momentum, put in more efforts and gets back to the self soon, he says. So in other words, this verse is a very interesting and deep shloka. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again and again we've had so many. At least understand that and stop attaching. How many more? As if only this. Because our memory is very short. We don't remember. It is for our good only we don't remember. But at least intellectually we should be able to project and see. In spite of all this, have I not become tired? Same routine, mechanical. Should I not aspire to reach the truth? Ask yourself that question, he says. Then with the effort and right attitude, get back to the self. Let's conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyirva Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayana Yeti Samarpayami.